Welcome to Super Entrepreneurs Podcast. Today we have with us Tamara Schenk. I hope I pronounced your last name correctly. Oh, perfect.
Yes,
How are you?
Thanks so much for having me.
My pleasure.
I'm doing great.
So happy to have you here.
Yeah.
I know everyone is busy and taking the time from your schedule to come on the show, and everything is just, without you guys, I wouldn't have anything, right? So I really, really enjoy meeting new people and speaking to them, finding out what's happening in their inner world, what they have done on the outer, and see if we can add value in the public.
Yeah, that's so important to connect with people, to be inspired by new perspectives and ideas.
So we always like to kind of allow our guests to take the stage in their own words. Introduce yourself, please.
Happy to do that. Thank you. Yeah, my name is Tamara Schenk, and I'm living in the north of Germany with my husband, Michael, and my soul cats. And my mission really is to empower human potential. And it took a while in my life until I got to this, and also the different stages and how to do it. So I have a long history of corporate work, and I found parts of my mission about 12 years ago with the topic about sales enablement, so to really help people to consciously create value for clients and create business this way. So to do this in big organizations, and there's a lot of structure and strategy around all of that. And then in parallel, I was more on my spiritual journey, discovered a lot of things, and then my soul cats joined our life in 2015, and that really changed a lot with the challenges they brought, the baggage they brought on their soul level and mine combined. So we learned a lot of new things. I worked a lot on my soul level, learned energy clearing techniques, and I do now a lot of auric trauma clearing work for people, for animals, to really remove all blockages that stand in the way, so to help them that they can be who they are and do what they came here to do.
Nice. So can you explain the cat part? I don't get that. Like, well, did you say cat soul?
The cat soul. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is what you see here behind me is my book Soul Cats, that became recently also an Amazon #1 bestseller in its category. So the story about this is we decided to adopt older cats that were in a shelter, that had a past, so maybe not so good experiences. And so we really learned a lot from each other, and they really pushed me on my way to really focus more on the soul side of things. And this is how I got to the animal communication, to the energy clearing techniques and all of that. And I was already on that stream, but for humans only, and now I combine all of that.
So we know that everything is energy, right? And we have energy field. Can you talk more about that, please?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so the first thing for people really is to understand that they're a lot more than a physical body. So, but you work in a similar fashion, right? So we are much more than that. So we have different levels of consciousness. So the way I work with is we look at a 15-dimensional energy field. So, and how I like to explain this usually is, everyone knows how the blood circulation system works, right? So the blood brings all the nutrients, the vitamins, everything you need in all parts of your body. And if you don't have any blockages in your arteries, that's perfect, right? That's how it should be. Then your blood can bring everything where it should be as fast as possible. So, and when you have blockages in your blood circulation system, then we have arteriosclerosis, right? So then everything slows down and you don't get enough nutrients, your body functions slow down, you're tired, and a lot of physical stuff comes with that. So, and with your energy systems, it's very similar. So you have 7 chakras that are energy centers in your physical body, from the root chakra up to the crown chakra. And this is how you accrete vital life force energy from source. You can say universe, some say God, or the essence. It really doesn't matter. It's the vital life force energy we get. It's the same thing. If I have no blockages in my chakras, I can accrete a lot of energy, and it can freely flow everywhere I need it. And if I have blockages in these chakras, then everything slows down. And these blockages in the chakras, they work like buttons, like buttons you have installed. And as soon as somebody pushes the button, a certain program starts to run. Yeah, it's what we want to have. When you push a button on your laptop, you want the buy button to process a certain action, a certain transaction. If you buy some stuff, that's what you want. You probably don't want that when somebody else pushes a button on you, that you do something automatically, what you probably don't want. And so the energy clearing simply is reinstalling these energetic blockages, these buttons. This is on a very high level how that works. And they can sit just in the auric field. So then this is what we do with some auric clearing, and they can really sit at a cellular and DNA level. So these are usually trauma blockages that sit much deeper.
So can you elaborate on each of the chakras?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, so for instance, you have your root chakra. It's really at the bottom of your spine. This is all about survival. So, and this is about if people have really fear of death and they have survival issues, then there are usually issues in the root chakra. So this is really the first chakra of our physical body. Then you have the next one is the sacral chakra. That's a few inches below your navel. This is where manifestation happens. This is also where all worries about money are sitting. This is what people then feel as lower back pain. This is the emotional energy body that sits there. Then you have the solar plexus. This is self-esteem, self-power, mental power. And these 3 chakras represent your physical identity. And then we come to the heart chakra in the middle of your breastbone. This is really about love and compassion and self-love and unconditional love and contribution. And the heart chakra is so important because it is the first chakra of your soul identity. And we all want to actually embody what our soul's mission is here, right? So having a clear heart chakra is really the key to embodying the soul, your soul's mission. Then so all betrayal stuff, all relationship stuff, all of these blockages sit in the heart chakra. Yeah, and then people with a blocked heart chakra, they can be controlled by fear. Yeah, this is why it's so important to open this up. Then we have the throat chakra. So this is all about communication and how to express ourselves. And people who have the feeling they cannot speak their truth, or it's not allowed to speak their truth, they have usually big blockages in the throat chakra. And you have then usually thyroid issues on a physical level. So the longer I have blockages in a certain chakra, then eventually it manifests physically with a couple of symptoms. Then we have the third eye chakra that's here between our physical eyes. This is the chakra of intuition. So when this is blocked, we have a hard time to get the whisper of our soul, so the insights from our soul through to us. So it's important to have that clear so that we can actually receive the intuition we need. And then we have the crown chakra at the top of our head. That's about empowerment, about connection to the greater good, to the universe, to God, to the essence. And if there are a lot of blockages under seventh chakra. Then we have no mental clarity. We have a hard time to set intentions. We have a hard time to make decisions, to follow through, because we feel disconnected, and then we really don't know in which direction to go. So, and then you have 4 chakras below your feet. You have 4 above your head. These are the chakras in the morphogenetic field. So I make that short. I just only focus on one. That's the 13th chakra, which connects every living being on the planet to the earth core, which is, I find, is always interesting to really allow people to understand, hey, you are earth. You are always connected to earth. So this is actually, if the idea gets into people's heart, then we naturally take care of a part of ourselves, that we're connected to the earth. So that's just very important, I think, to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a very brief overview
of course.
on all of this. There are a lot of books out and stuff
to
go deep into this.
No, for sure, and for me, like, I pretty much grew up with a high state of frustration and anger, and I always thought that everyone is against me. So I would approach situations and people and anything, thinking that, okay, I would not be trusting, right? And there absolutely, obviously, there wasn't any love involved there, right? It was more like fear or, nervousness. This person, whatever they're saying, I'll be thinking about what they're thinking, assuming things, making up a whole story, from just looking at them. My mind will be so consumed with all that. I never even got to connect. So after my transformational journey, I'm still on it, obviously, but it never really ends. Now it's more purely on, awareness, like being in my awareness of awareness and just seeing the world from there. And then all of a sudden you feel that sense of connectiveness, like to that person. Like for now, I don't feel that anymore. Like, even intimidation, for example, I don't have that anymore. Like I used to, right? Like I would judge the person by their physical appearance or what their face was to determine who they were, in my life, right? But now it's completely different. So that's how, when you interview people, when you talk to people, by what they're sharing with you, you can know which chakra is being blocked, and then you work on that. Is that correct?
Yeah. So this is diagnosis is important always to really do this. So what I usually do in a first session to really check each chakra, and then I also know from the symptoms a person shares to look at, but usually I clear all of them one after the other. So to have a great foundation. So that's always the first step of everything we do here. Yeah, I love that you shared your experience on this and your journey, because I think usually also in my case, I didn't have an ideal upbringing. Yeah. So we really have to go through some challenges to find our path, right? Yeah.
And
I also had huge trust issues.
Yeah.
Still this is what one of my cats really reflected back to me. It's very interesting to see how soul journeys really relate. That was for me just mind blowing. So just real quick. So when I was a very young baby, so my baby crib broke down one night while I was sleeping. So I fell to the floor, and of course that's a big trauma for a child, right? And it really damaged my basic trust. And then many years later, on a corporate event, I'm sure you know this exercise. It's called trust fall, when you were asked to let yourself fall down backwards.
No one could do it. No one could do it to me because, I'm almost 300 pounds, 6'4". So nobody ever tried it with me.
So, and I didn't even make the connection then that the root cause was actually this experience as a baby. But later on, when I worked with my teacher on my trauma clearing education, that connected. And once I worked on this, I made a huge step forward in terms of really regaining trust. And I've seen this with Flix, the cat. So he came and he was 15 to us, and he was moved out of somebody else's house. So we don't really need a circumstance, but he ended up on the street, and he really had a hard time to survive. Then he came to the shelter, and then we adopted him. So he was half a year with us, and he was still, when he was sitting there, when you walked by, he was running away. And this is when I said, okay, I have to do something about it. He's in fear and he can't build trust. So then I started to use animal communication and the energy clearing techniques that I learned during this time for him as well. And that just made a huge difference. Wow. So he was later on a proud senior cat.
Yeah.
Very
leader.
Connected, very spiritual. It's really beautiful to see. Wow. Yeah.
So can you elaborate on the cat communication? So is this just cats or any animal?
It's any animal.
How do you, is it more of a energetic state? You know, how like for me, I spend time with plants or trees, you know, luckily I have a lot here, but I go and I just stand in the vicinity as close as possible, and I'll just put my hand and I sense my energy, and then I sense everything around, and then I sense the tree, and I stay there for a little bit, not too long, but I just stay there with it, and I feel good. So they're not communicating with me, right? But I'm just saying the feeling, the sense of that energy, feeling the energy in that tree, I sense something, right? So is that somewhat like that, the communication?
I think this is the entry point.
Okay.
The starting point to connecting to that life form. Yeah, you can connect to any life form on the planet. And how I would describe it, so the biggest challenge with all of this work is to really put the to put the mind aside for a bit and to let intuition be your master. And this is just a challenge in the world we're living in, right? So when everything is about mind mastery and everything's explained about the mind and the rational mind, and then we tend to like, oh no, I don't have these senses, but we all have these senses. We just have to reactivate them again and really building this intuitive channel and connection to the animal. So for me, I connect to my higher self, which is from the heart chakra up to the 15th. And then I create basically a signal line to the animal. I work with an image where I can see the eyes of the animal. I build that energetic connection, that I connect to their higher self and then to their heart. And then I just feel what's coming. Yeah. And it's the same. I do exactly the same way when I do the energy clearing work. So connecting to the animal and feeling, okay, is fearful? Do I get some images? Do I have a sense of how he or she is feeling, what the problems are, what the challenges are? So then I work on that. Why I do the energy clearing work, I work on these issues then. Yeah, and it helps a lot with traumatized animals, with cats that pee outside the litter box or things like that. Yeah.
Can you share without, I don't want you to share anything that's in your book, for example, or anything, but can you share something with the audience, some type of tip that they could start with to start sensing or opening up their intuition?
Yeah. Obviously, an aura clearing is an important step to do that, but you can always work on yourself for this one. So one way to get to better intuition is to really use music that helps you to lower down your brain waves to a theta state. So that helps. So if we have a really a brainwave state where we only have 4 to 7 cycles per second, that helps us to be in a deep state, to have more access, more easily access to the intuition. Yeah. That's what can help. And another exercise it's a bit funny. So if you close your physical eyes and you try to look with both physical eyes, they're closed towards the center, towards here, that also helps to activate your intuition.
Okay, so just close your eyes and then look in the center.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you turn your eyes inwards.
Yes, right. That's it. So, and actually you have better access to your intuition with closed eyes. And yeah, sometimes what I experience a lot with people, they actually have good insights, but they push them away because then the rational mind,
unfortunately,
it's not working.
Yes.
It can't be true.
I went there. I've been through it.
But there was actually an insight from the soul level, right?
Yeah, I've been there. I'm sure you've been there. Like, when I was hearing about this stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was hearing about this stuff at network events and stuff like that when back in the day. And I was like, this guy is crazy, like I'll be in my head, right? I'll be saying, what is he talking about? And I would brush it off because my limited thinking mind was in the way and controlling all that, right? It wouldn't allow to penetrate. And now I know, but back then I just thought it was, what is this? What are you talking about? Right. So a lot of people unfortunately have that blockage, but sometimes, a life event, a serious life event kind of forces one to awaken or look at these things.
Yes.
But when they do start looking at these things, when they do find that calmness, when they go into that alpha state, when they start noticing themselves more and more in that state throughout the day while they're taking action, like it's becoming part of them, right? Then they start seeing their mind kind of calms down. This part kind of awakens, right? It kind of gets stronger. Even now, sometimes they'll come to, I go, how? This is amazing, right? Like it's shocking how incredible this is, especially when serendipity stuff, occurs and out of funny things just starts happening, right? And you start saying, interesting. Like, can you talk about that? Like, what is really happening? Like, I know what's happening, but the audience, I would love from your expertise to kind of talk about that when they get to that state, life becomes incredibly more easier.
Yeah, because maybe we talk a little bit about intuition and intellect and how that relates. So, I mean, we are living in a society it is in yours and in mine, everywhere. It's very focused on educating the mind, which is the intellect.
Yeah.
So it is the rational part of the brain. This is what we learn in school. We learn languages. We learn mathematics, physics, chemistry, all kinds. So this is all training the intellect, to the rational mind. So there is not a lot in education that would educate children on developing their intuitive capabilities. Actually, it's then questioned that it even exists. So then we have also the instinct playing into this, which is the voice of your body. Our blood circulation system works, breathing works automatically, everything is taken care of. So this is where the animals come a lot from. They have a lot more of that. And not so much rational mind. So we have a lot more of the intellect. So the intellect is all the studies and research and fact-based. This is what we can measure in a three-dimensional world. This is what the intellect understands. So based on that, we always work with past data, right? And we actually learn that past data actually do not predict the future. Yeah, but we create models out of the past, putting that into the future. This is all the work of the intellect. So the balance I see we're missing in the world is really the power of our intuition, which is the whisper of our soul, which is the inside of our soul. And at soul level, intuition is always right. But we have to act on it. And I know my journey, and I work with my teacher for a long time now, and I know where I was at 5-6 years ago, and where I am now. So this is, as you said, it's a journey that never ends.
Never.
Yeah, to transform yourself, to grow yourself, and to really do what you came here to do. And it's just so important that we focus more on it. I think, especially in the world we are living in, technology is now growing so fast, and this is all based on the intellect. And intuition is at a global level is not really growing, right? So technology it's really going much faster than human consciousness, and I think we have to go back into a balance, which is also something that really drives me in my work to help people open up, to clear all these blockages, to clear past trauma. I mean, everyone is traumatized in one way or another. There is no ideal upbringing for nobody, and we experience a lot of things that are learning experiences for us all, if you look at it this way. Yeah, I think it's important to get back into a balance and to really focus more on switching social media and stuff off for a while, to focus on just how a leaf is falling into a lake, and really
sense everything.
Doing this in your mind for a couple of times, really silence this down. Also, brainwave music is probably the easiest way for most people.
And you mentioned about consciousness, right? The increase, collective consciousness. I still feel, from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, there is a difference, right? Like I see an increase in people's awareness, and especially in COVID, a lot of people looked into this and started this journey. So I'm hopeful, more and more people are going to realize that there is some extremely special gifts that human beings were given. And one of them is intuition. And if you look at all the scientists in the past, Albert Einstein, whoever, like, any experts that were looking for answers, they utilize their intuition to get a lot of those answers. So science is kind of based, because it's the human beings that discovered the answers, right? So science needs, if something is unanswered, they're looking for an answer. So where's that answer coming from? Is it, if it's intellect, and we know it's not, because most of them are talking about, receiving this information. That should give people a pointer, say, wait a minute, maybe I should get out of my own way and look into this. There might be something. If a guy like me that was ego driven and just, thought like just me, the physical, who I am, the person, the name is everything, like, and then I can conquer the world. I can grow. I can do all these things, but I was in my own way, right? I didn't allow the real power to come through.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like what you said. Also, the example about Albert Einstein, and also Professor Richard Feynman says the same. So basically, physics is not the most important thing on the planet. Love is.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is also how he got the lots of insights for his work. And I think they are very similar on how they approach things.
Yeah.
And there was also another quote so the direction of it was like, hey, be aware if you humans divide the universe into different categories, like lakes and mountains and water and all these different categories of things. Be aware that nature does not, and does not know that you do it. So in terms of putting stuff in categories and then having the idea, okay, if we manage this one topic, it will solve everything. So we're really in a very connected world. And I just found this, yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah. Like
Back
if you
to
try to
physics, yeah.
Yeah, like if you try to like if you try to like figure out one part, you know, on this, that's really what we could focus on, is just the one part. But really, it's just the whole thing is all connected. Like, to figure all this out, we don't even know, like, what 5% is it of the universe, right? And maybe we're not supposed to know about the rest. Who knows, right? But we are. There's something amazing. This experience that we were gifted with is something very special, right? Every breath is very special.
It is, yeah.
Where do you see yourself? Like, what are you planning on doing with this? Are you teaching or working with corporate clients? Are you working with individuals? How does your practice work?
Yeah, so for the energy clearing work, I do individual programs with people over a couple of weeks, or also animal engagements, or sometimes combined for the whole family. That's also beautiful work. And I also do more and more group programs, especially from my teaching. So I'm also licensed, certified, or clearing master healer and teacher. So I have currently a class in English running and a class in German language running, and I will also bring my trauma clearing program. It's a 12-week program into a group setting in the near future.
Very good.
And also there I teach practitioners on how to do that.
That's excellent. You know, I wish you all the best of luck.
We need more people doing this work.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Because, you know, this awakening is such a beautiful place that whoever is not there, you know, I feel bad. Like, I want them to experience. I want everyone to experience, you know, and the thing about this is that it's super simple, but not easy, you know, like the process, requires, you know, initially a lot of willpower, but, that's why it's important to work with people like yourself, you know, and get help. And once you gain that help, that's where the direction can be given with the information, right? Sometimes we consume a lot of information online and we don't know what to do with it. And we do a whole bunch of different things and we end up frustrated. So that's why people pay such top dollar with mentorship and all this, because they just want clarity. Just tell me what to do. I'm going to follow your instructions, and I just want to get to that place. That's it, right? Not like, okay, I'm going to do it on my own. And then they feel like, oh my God, what did I get into?
That you pointed this out really accurately. So just consuming more information, it's not creating any transformation. No. So I also really have to be committed and follow a journey, and also trust then the process that it will work out. Sometimes when I sign up for education for myself, I think actually I don't have the time. I don't know how it will all work out, but I know I have to do it. So, and then it will work out. And lead me to different places.
So Tamara, can you share what your innermost superpower is that got you to this point?
That is a great question.
Thank you.
My innermost superpower.
That's one of the questions we always ask.
My loving energy. Yeah. No, it's actually two things: my loving energy for all life forms on the planet, and my commitment to follow my path.
Amazing. Well, I wish for you to continue this journey. I wish you completely change individual lives, collective lives, bring this awareness to families, you know, that are feeling and sensing what the heck is going on? Why is life so difficult? I hope they find this information. You know, you help them, you serve them, and you continue. You have a long life with this, and, become a key part of our communities and our society, because the increasing that level of awareness is really the key to what everything that's living, everything that's alive on our planet depends on. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. It has been so inspiring to have this conversation with you.
I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you can anytime just contact us if you have something that you wanted to announce or anything. I'll be able to, happy to help you. Audience, thank you so much again for attending another episode of Super Entrepreneurs Podcast. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I love the engagement, the sharing, and I always recommend, when you see content like this, share with friends and family. There's no harm. You're doing something good. If you feel something good, share. Tamara's information will be in the show notes. Get in touch with her, and continue to work on yourself, become more self-aware, and take massive action towards whatever that desire is, because don't kid yourself. You are here for a reason. And let's amplify that reason. Tamara, thank you so much. If there's any final words, please go ahead.
Thank you so much for being here, for the opportunity to be on your show. Yeah, I wish many people receive the information. I'm happy to help and support people and also the animals. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have to ascend consciousness on the planet.
Yes, thank you so much. Well said, Tamara. Thank you.